Hello and welcome to the Timeslot. In this program I'll be taking a look at the Urwerk UR-110. Now Urwerk was founded in 1997 by watchmaker Felix Baumgartner and designer Martin Fry, with the goal of making watches that were based on traditional watchmaking techniques but with a futuristic twist. Their first watch, the UR-102, was displayed on the AHCI stand at Baselworld in 1999, but it wasn't widely available. Its minimalist appearance did attract a lot of attention, and the company was invited to take part in a project funded by leather goods maker Goldfile. While not a commercial success, the project drew together many independent watchmakers and brought in enough business to enable the company to introduce the UR-103. The Goldfile Urwerk watches are now extremely rare and highly prized. The Goldfile experiment brought Urwerk to the attention of Max Bussier, who at the time was head of the watchmaking division of Harry Winston. He asked Felix to make and design the now classic and highly collectible Opus 5, which was released in 2005. The main Urwerk design aesthetic is the use of orbiting satellites to tell the time against a fixed linear scale. In practice, that has taken a couple of slightly different forms. The UR-103 uses a cross form with the satellite at the end of each of the four arms revolving in the horizontal plane, with 3 numbers on each satellite to indicate the 12 hours. A small vertical dash under each number was used as the pointer on the minute scale. Subsequent models, like the UR-203, take a slightly different form, having 3 arms with 4 numbers on each satellite, this time revolving vertically. The end of each arm has a pointer to indicate the minutes against the scale. Since the UR-110 was first introduced, there have been a few variants. I was lucky enough to try out a full titanium example for an evening a few years ago in Paris, and some months later at another evening event in Geneva. This proved to me that an Urwerk watch is not for the shy and retiring. Now, don't get me wrong, that's not that you need to be flash to buy a watch like this. It's just that Urwerk is so distinctive that people will constantly interrupt you with questions and exclamations on how good it looks. The UR-110 has the minute scale on the right-hand side of the watch. This makes it much easier to read under a shirt cuff than previous models, as you only need to pull the cuff back a small amount. It's actually a very clever solution to what is often a very tricky problem for watchmakers. Although the principles of the time indication are pretty straightforward, it does take a day or two to really get used to seeing the time quickly. But actually, once you're used to it and the way that it works, it's surprisingly easy to tell the time. One area that I couldn't get quite right was the fit. This red gold version is a bit heavier than the full titanium version or those with the wood inserts, and although the strap is wide and very comfortable, I couldn't quite get the perfect fit, and so with the extra weight it was prone to moving around on my wrist. Now, I don't see that as a huge problem, as if I was actually buying one, I'm sure that Urwerk would make sure that the fit was perfect. The UR-110 is an automatic watch, but if you want to manually wind it, you can with a large oversized crown at the 12 o'clock position. Urwerk has an ingenious solution to stop you overwinding the watch. On the back are 2 small circular windows which show 2 sets of turbine blades. As the barrel is increasingly wound, the air in the watch is compressed, and that stops the turbines from moving and adding any further power. Very clever. The level of workmanship is fantastic and the finish is amazing. Some of the individual components are so tiny, how they construct the movement is mind-blowing. Now let's be clear, Urwerk watches are expensive, but as far as I can see, they're worth every penny. The only downside is that so many people will ask you to try it on and want to change the time just to see the satellites working that you might actually need another watch to make sure that you set the right time afterwards. If you're looking for something special and your budget will stretch to an Urwerk, then you should seriously consider it. This is the Timeslot. I'm Ian Ellery.